Interviews with those in the know. Now, WIBW's Ag Issues. Now your host, Greg.
And good morning, everyone. We're glad to have you with us on the program this morning. And for those of you who are watching this via the stream, welcome as well. We're going to have a lot of fun on this program today, as we're going to be talking about a special partnership between the Kansas State Department of Education and then, of course, you are very familiar with Shop Kansas Farms, which we have had on the program throughout this time period. So joining us on the program here in just a bit will be Rick Mcnary, the founder of Shop Kansas Farms. We'll also be joined by Barb Depew, who is the Farm to Plate Project Director with the Kansas State Department of Education. We'll also be joined by Caitlin Stanley, who is the Local and Regional Food Systems Director with the Kansas Rural Center. And we'll also be joined by Megan Kramer, who is Director of Communications with Kansas Farm Bureau, but also serves as the co-administrator with Shop Kansas Farms. So yes, we have 4 guests on the Ag Issues program this morning, right here on 580 WIBW. But before we do all that, let's get a check of the weather. By the way, for those of you watching on streaming, we're trying to make sure I don't get an echo, so just bear with us there. I realized there were some other headphones in the studio that were up extremely loud. So, in other words, our sports guys apparently can't hear. So, jokingly, I had that same issue with my former boss, Kelly Lenz. Anytime I knew he was in the studio before me, the speakers were up to basically the loudest settings, or the headphones, were up to the loudest settings. So just stand by, and we'll be set to go. For those of you watching on streaming, good morning, and we'll be set with our Ag Issues program here in just a bit. All right, thank you very much, meteorologist Dan Holliday, with an update on the forecast right here on 580 WIBW. Right now in the capital city, we have a cloudy sky, 59 degrees, both at Billard Airport and Forbes Field. Actually, at Billard Airport, the wind has turned to the north, so that front right on our doorstep here. So if you feel the wind switch, that is the reason why. It's a north wind at Billard Airport. It's a southwest wind at Forbes Field this morning. On this morning's Ag Issues program, it is an absolute pleasure to be joined on the program this morning. We've got 4 guests. I'm not sure, I haven't done it. I'm not sure if we've had 4 guests on the program before. We're joined by, first off, Rick Mcnary, who is the founder of Shop Kansas Farms. Rick, first off, good morning to you.
Good morning, Greg.
And we're also joined by Barb Depew, Farm to Plate Project Director with the Kansas State Department of Education. Barb, good morning to you as well.
Glad to be here.
And we're also joined on the program by Caitlin Stanley, who's the Local and Regional Food Systems Director with Kansas Rural Center, and she joins us this morning. Caitlin, good morning to you.
Thanks, Greg. Glad to be here.
And we're also joined by Megan Kramer, Director of Communications with Kansas Farm Bureau, but also serves as a co-administrator of Shop Kansas Farms, and she joins us on the program this morning. Megan, good morning to you.
Good morning, Greg.
All right, let's get going here. First off, Rick, I want to start with you just to get an update on Shop Kansas Farms, which we've had you on periodically, and about a year later, it's amazing to see how much of an idea that you started with and how it has blossomed so much in what we've seen here the past year.
Yeah, it's miraculous to me, Greg. About a year ago, when my wife told me that the meat counter was empty at the grocery store that day, I jumped on Facebook, started a group called Shop Kansas Farms in order to connect people to the wonderful farm and ranch families of Kansas so that they could purchase food directly from them. And you and I were actually live when it hit 50,000, and here we are at 147,000 members. Most of those are consumers, and they're buying directly from farmers, and that's been incredible.
Yeah, it absolutely has been. There's been a lot of development as far as this, the Facebook page is concerned. What are some of the steps? I guess first off, let me ask, with getting close to that 150,000 number, and whoever thought that, more than 650 farms that are listed on the website, which just shows you the importance and prioritizing how important this has become in looking at what consumers would like to see from the people who grow the food.
Yeah, one of the first requests we had from people on the group was for a searchable map and a directory. And Facebook and Google don't play that well together. So my wife and I actually started and funded a website that would have an interactive map, and people can list their farms for free. And as you mentioned, there are more than 650 now. So consumers and farmers alike can jump on there and populate where they are and what they have to sell and what they have to offer, so people can go find them.
We're joined by several folks here on the Ag Issues program here on 580 WIBW, as we're talking about a lot of great things that are taking place. Now, one of the things that are taking place, Rick, is a partnership that we're going to talk specifically right now with you and Barb Depew about. And Barb, I'm going to bring you up here. The Kansas State Department of Ag Education, you have decided to partner with Shop Kansas Farms on the Farm to School project. So can you explain what the Farm to School project is about?
Yes, thank you, Greg. The program here across the state is a way to bring our local foods into our child nutrition programs. And the Farm to School area is something that is growing, and it is something that the Shop Kansas Farms website can really make a big difference to help connect those producers to our schools, because we would really like to work with them to have them bring that local food into our programs.
So from your perspective, how can Shop Kansas Farms help promote that use of the local foods in the child nutrition programs?
The website itself, Rick has been very helpful to go ahead and add the Farm to School link. So there now is a place that not only can our child nutrition programs put themselves out there that they are working with the Farm to School area, but also we can have the farmers, the producers that are interested in working with the schools then to go ahead and also add themselves. So it will be a perfect way for each to search, to find a way to make that connection then for their products in their programs.
You know, Rick, what I find interesting, and I'll get comments from both of you on this, is and let me ask you first, Rick, on this. How excited are you to be able to have a partnership like this with the Kansas Department of Education, State Department of Education, to be able to partner and to be able to be a part of what they're doing on this project?
One of the most exciting parts for me is it's going to help get nutritious food into the school systems that's locally sourced, but it's also going to help prosper farmers. That's been the most exciting thing to me, is that Shop Kansas Farms has benefited farmers and helped them find additional or new revenue streams. And it's a real key, I believe, to rural prosperity, that people in these local areas can have new revenue streams as they can sell to schools.
Barb, let me ask you, and Rick, I want to follow up with you on this as well. It's amazing the priority or the importance of what we have seen in the last year associated with the pandemic, not only from the aspect of what Shop Kansas Farms is about on getting that consumer in direct contact with those who grow the food, but the importance, Barb, of what we see farm to school, not only learning wise, but just having that supply of food that's out there too.
Yes, I agree. And this is something that, because again, COVID has made some changes in our programs, but it has also had them maybe look more locally for their products then, because of it being difficult sometimes to access some of those foods that they had used previously. So I do feel the time is right to really ramp up this program and to be able to go ahead and make this opportunity available out there.
All right, before we go to a break, I want to bring in Megan Kramer with Kansas Farm Bureau, who, like we said, she also serves as a co-administrator of the Shop Kansas Farm website. But Megan, let me ask, talk about the involvement of Kansas Farm Bureau with this.
Yeah, Greg. So specifically about the connecting schools with farmers, we wrote a story about this in Kansas Living in 2016 about some farmers in Ashland that were doing that. And I think that's when Barb originally reached out to me. And we, anybody knows farmers and ranchers are very committed to their communities and their schools. And so I think folks were doing this already. We also wrote about the Alpers in 2020 who live in Stafford County. And I really love that Rick is using his platform to bring it to even more people, and then also trying to find a way for farmers and ranchers to get paid for whatever donations or I guess they wouldn't be donations, whatever they're providing, because the stories we've written about and that we know about, it's really farmers donating to local schools to really help the community. So we just love these kind of stories. It just highlights how farmers and ranchers are so heavily involved and care about their communities. And we want to help, share that as much as we can and encourage farmers and ranchers to get on the map and figure out how they can do the same thing in their communities as well.
Have you seen several might be short of what it is? Have you seen your members really take and be a part and be involved in the Shop Kansas Farms operation?
Absolutely. We know our members are involved. We know that they were involved from the beginning. And we know that they were also watching Shop Kansas Farms. Even if they weren't involved, they were watching it take off. So yes, our members are heavily involved in Shop Kansas Farms.
Before we go to a break, we should say, if people want more information, we had posted the website earlier, but specifically looking at the partnership between Shop Kansas Farms and the Kansas State Department of Education, they can just go to the Shop Kansas Farms Facebook page.
Are you asking me, Greg, or are you asking
Yes.
Rick?
No, go ahead, Megan.
Yeah, so to figure out what schools are available or to get on the map, it's Shop Kansas Farms. Just search that on the web. Look for the website. So not necessarily the Facebook group or the page, but the website is where you're going to find the map and how to get connected that way.
There's 4 of you. Sometimes it's hard to remember
Yes.
who I'm asking the question to. So, all right, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we're going to talk more about this with Rick Mcnary, founder of Shop Kansas Farms, Barb Depew with the Kansas State Department of Education. We will get to Caitlin Stanley with the Kansas Rural Center in just a bit, and Megan Kramer with Kansas Farm Bureau and a co-administrator of Shop Kansas Farms. This is Ag Issues here on 580 WIBW. After this.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, for those of you watching on the stream, you're going to hear me do a live auction spot here in just a bit. So just stand by. Emporia Livestock Sales Company in Emporia, Kansas, where buyers and sellers come to meet. At Emporia Livestock Sales, we'll be having their weekly cattle sale, and it will get underway tomorrow morning at 11 o'clock. Amongst the early consignments for the last sale in March, 16 black pairs, 6 years old and older, 15 black steers and heifers long time wean, 400 to 500 pounds, 14 black steers and heifers 30 days wean, 500 to 600 pounds, 40 mostly black heifers, long time wean, 5 to 7, 80 Hereford steers and heifers, long time weaned and worked, 5 to 7, 75 black, red, and Charolais steers and heifers, long time weaned, 2 rounds of shots, 5.5 to 650, 120 black and red steers, long time weaned, 6 to 800 pounds, 65 mostly black heifers, 7.5 to 800 pounds, 240 black heifers, no implants, 775 to 850, 60 mostly black steers, 850 to 900 pounds, and 55 mixed steers, 950 to 1,050 pounds. Now, if you'd like more information or like to add consignments to this and or their future sales, you can give them a call at 620-342-2425. You can go to their website, emporialivestock.com, or like them on their Facebook page as well. That's the Emporia Livestock Sale Company in Emporia, Kansas, where buyers and sellers come to meet. Their weekly cattle sale gets underway tomorrow morning at 11 o'clock. And those of you watching on streaming, sometimes faux pas come out there where I get my auction barns mixed up. And we also, this time of year, as you all know, tend to have a lot of auction barns come up for sale, and a lot of spring sales that take place as well. So, all right, stand by. Is this the last spot?
Yes, sir, it is.
Okay, thank you.
I kind of pared the other schedule down too in case we go over.
Okay, cool. Thanks, man. And we're back on the Ag Issues program this morning here on 580 WIBW. Glad to have you with us on the program this morning. We're talking about a new partnership between the Kansas State Department of Education and their Farm to School program. They're partnering up with Shop Kansas Farms, and we've got several people on the program to talk about that. Rick Mcnary, the founder of Shop Kansas Farms, Barb Depew, Farm to Plate Project Director with the Kansas State Department of Education, Megan Kramer, Director of Communications with Kansas Farm Bureau and a co-administrator of Shop Kansas Farms. And we're also joined by Caitlin Stanley, who is the local and regional food systems director with the Kansas Rural Center. And Caitlin, I want to ask you about this as well. With this partnership taking place, how has the Kansas Rural Center become involved with all this?
Yeah, well, so Rick reached out to us a little bit ago to let us know about what he was doing with Shop Kansas Farms. And I was working already with Barb Depew from the Kansas State Department of Education on Farm to School. And so we saw this as an opportunity to meet one of our goals, which is to increase the ability for schools and farmers to connect. So we all worked together to get that going, that page and the interactive map where schools can connect with farmers and farmers can connect with schools. From a farmer perspective, we found that farmers need more information on the specifics of how to access and sell to school markets. So this map has really helped allow that to happen.
Do people, or and I guess it's a two-part question on this, Caitlin. Do people understand the importance? Because in so many ways, farmers know that consumers want to know where their food comes from. But in a second case, with everything that's gone on with the pandemic, that importance has increased exponentially just from what we saw at the grocery store, the meat shortages, you name it. That has just become, it seems like, elevated that importance of what we have seen here within the last year.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think one of the goals of the Kansas Rural Center is always to create more resilient local food systems. And I think Shop Kansas Farms is really helping that to happen.
And I guess for your members, what are some of the things, have they started to embrace this more? And I guess, what are some of the next steps for your the Rural Center members that they can do as far as being able to enhance or become involved in this?
Yeah, absolutely. We encourage all of the producers in our network to sign up and list themselves on the map so that they can become more searchable to schools. We definitely have quite a few of our folks interested or involved, but always looking to expand.
Barb, I want to go back to you on this. As you start to look at this, you know, your title is Farm to Plate Project Director. That involves a lot of items as far as how do we get that, how do we enhance that, and being able to do that. I mean, it's hard to think of what that next step will be, but this is a pretty good step to get to those next steps, or to get to those next goals, or I guess in some aspects to get to that next idea for what that next project may be too.
Yes, Rick, Greg, it is. And I feel like this, we want the Farm to Plate is we want to cover the plate with Kansas agricultural products. And in Kansas, we have a lot of we're bountiful ag products. And so that from the milk to the grains to fruits and vegetables, the protein, all of that is available out there. And so that this then will allow us to go ahead and work to expand then and have many choices, many options then for our children in Kansas. And all of those, they can then learn where their food comes from and really appreciate the healthy choices they have.
Rick, I want to go back up to you. You know, as I know you and Megan and others have figured out, you got to play within Facebook's rules first off on you know, originally what you guys did as far as your site is concerned, but that also shows the growth that you had. There's going to be maybe a few headaches on the way, but to continue to develop what you guys have been able to do here in the last year.
Yeah, we've learned a lot of things. And I often liken myself to a little kid that walked along a dam and saw a plug, pulled on it, and the dam burst. And I got toppled head over teacup with going down the stream. Megan rescued me and helped me put some framework to this. One of the things that we're doing next is building actually a storefront. So Shop Kansas Farms is going to be a marketplace. And so again, farmers will be able to sell, schools will be able to connect there with the farmers as well. So making it an easy connection between consumers and the farmers is really what we strive to do and continue to expand upon.
And Megan, that shows the importance though of this whole project, this whole thing, because yes, the pandemic is going to end sometime, but this communication is going to continue and hopefully last a long time too.
Yeah, and I think the really cool thing about this whole Shop Kansas Farms is who's behind it, and that's Rick Mcnary. There have been many opportunities for him to say, you know what, this isn't worth it. Why am I investing my money in this? But he keeps plugging along and making it better and better for people. So I think God gave this to somebody who would take care of it and do what was right with it. And he'll just continue to grow it and make sure that farmers and ranchers are prospering from it. So I don't think it would have worked under anybody else. I tell him all the time, I'm like, Rick, I don't know how you're still doing this, how you're still plugging away. There's been issues and, you know, all sorts of stuff. But he just keeps saying, nope, this is what I'm here for. This is what I'm going to do. So God knew what he was doing, right?
Yeah, absolutely. to be able to do that. And Caitlin, I want to get one final question to you as well. And I'm sure Rick may start to blush once we start to do that. This idea came from a person who's not a farmer, but it shows you the importance of agriculture in the state of Kansas. And I know I don't have to tell your members that as well, as far as that everyday activity is concerned. The fact that all farmers have had to work through the pandemic, but to be able to educate consumers in the long run too on how long of a coattail that will have down the road.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the things that we're trying to do is make sure that farmers are trained to be able to enter the school markets. And so this is another component that we're doing with the farm to school that Rick is helping us do by connecting us with farmers.
All right, we're going to have to put a cap on it there as far as the on-air portion is concerned. So we really appreciate Rick Mcnary, the founder of Shop Kansas Farms, Barb Depew, Farm to Plate Project Director with the Kansas State Department of Education, Caitlin Stanley, Local and Regional Food Systems Director with the Kansas Rural Center, and Megan Kramer, Director of Communications with Kansas Farm Bureau and a co-administrator of Shop Kansas Farms, who joins us on the Ag Issues program this morning. Stay with us when we come back. We will get an update on the news headlines, and we'll check the weather forecast. That comes up next.
Do you want an extra 30 in here?
No, I'll do this after this 30. All right, those on the streaming.
Do it over your PC or the real mic.
PC.
Gotcha.
Those on the StreamYard and stand by. We'll wrap it up here on the live stream here in just a bit. I got to do one more spot here, so hold on. Rezac Livestock Commission Company in St. Mary's, Kansas will be holding their weekly cattle sale. It gets underway later this morning at 10:30. You can watch the live auction at dvauction.com. Among the early consignments expected for today's sale, 21 black steers and heifers that are vaccinated 4 to 500 pounds, 25 black steers and heifers that are vaccinated 5 to 600 pounds, 30 black red Angus steers and heifers that are vaccinated 4.5 to 6, 31 Angus steers and heifers weaned and vaccinated 6.5 to 700 pounds, 25 Angus steers weaned and vaccinated 6 to 650, 61 Angus heifers replacement quality 7 to 7.25, plus many more consignments expected for today's sale. If you'd like more information, you can give them a call at the sale barn, 785-437-2785. It's at the Rezac Livestock Commission Company, St. Mary's, Kansas. Their weekly cattle sale gets underway later this morning at 10:30. All right, for those on the live stream, this will end our program for today. Folks, I really appreciate you coming on to the program for the importance of this issue, for a great partnership, and we will, I'm sure, for all of you, we'll have a periodic update on this because of the importance that everything is going on. So, folks, Barb Depew, Rick Mcnary, Megan Kramer, and Caitlin Stanley, it was a pleasure to have you on the program today.
Thank you, Greg.
Thank you, Greg.
All right.
Thanks so much.